Today, I want to talk about developers. Not just any developers, very specific kind of developers. You might even be them, or you might know them. This developer has done everything right. They have a good degree, they have real skills, they can build things, but even after sending 200 applications, they cannot get a job offer. Now, everyone keeps telling them the same thing. It's their bad luck, and the market is bad, and the timing is wrong. But it isn't really about luck. Yes, there are massive layoffs happening and jobs have reduced significantly, but at the same time, the same thing that's wiping out these jobs is also making a different kind of developer worth a fortune. A few weeks ago, OpenAI spent $4 billion to go and hire exactly that kind of engineer. This money is the answer to our golden question. Now that AI can write the code, what makes an engineer really worth paying for? Now, the answer splits people in two different categories. Get it right, and you're the kind of engineer companies fight to hire. But get it wrong, and you're that developer from the beginning that's good at their job, but somehow still unhireable. And by the end of this video, you will know which side you are on and which side you should be on. So let's jump right in. Now, for your whole life, the valuable thing in software was always building it, writing the code. That's the skill you went to college for. It's what got you hired. And AI just got good at exactly that. At Anthropic, the company behind Claude, the AI now writes more than 80% of the code that they ship for Claude itself. That's their own number. So when the one skill the entire industry runs on suddenly gets cheap, that industry doesn't just trim a little, it rebuilds itself. And you feel it first in these jobs. But the scary part was never how many jobs are being cut, it's which ones are being cut. They're hitting the very bottom of the ladder. Entry-level roles, the ones that fresh graduates fight for, are down to something like 40-50% in just 2 years. Now that breaks something that most people don't even notice. Now, becoming a senior engineer always worked the same way. You first got hired as a junior, you did small, low-stake tasks with someone more experienced always overseeing you, slowly training you to become a senior. And over a few years, you build up judgment and seniority. But now that first rung, the whole way in, is being pulled out from under people. In India, it's actually even more brutal. TCS, the company everyone thought was untouchable, just cut more people in 1 year than they have ever before. And they came right out and said that they're going AI first. The machine that used to hire engineers by the hundreds of thousands is now being taken apart in public. But everyone is being divided into two buckets. The work that gets automated first is the routine, do what you're told stuff. And plenty of good engineers are sitting right in it. These cuts aren't random. They're killing off one kind of work but leaving another on the table, which means that the value in those jobs didn't just disappear, it simply shifted. It shifted away from writing code, which now the AI does, to handling something that's much harder, getting that AI to work inside a real messy company. Now, a very interesting study that was done by MIT studied a pile of AI projects inside actual companies, and 95% of them did not work. That's a huge number. Now, that 95% was not because the AI was bad. The AI was actually fine. They fell apart because they were not made to work inside an actual company. A company with messy data, ancient systems that don't talk to each other, and nobody knowing who really owns the project. The model was never the problem. Making it work in a real-life situation was. Now, picture this. What AI can do is shooting straight up. But what companies can take in and use it is barely moving forward. And the gap between those two things is filling up with money. To be specific, with billions of dollars of investment into AI that was bought but no one knows how to use. A gap like that doesn't just stay open for long. Somebody will walk in and close it. And because of that, they'll get paid a fortune. So the question now becomes, who is that person? Turns out there's a name for this person. A company called Palantir invented the role about 15 years ago. They call it the forward deployed engineer. The easiest way to get it is by comparison. A normal software engineer builds one product and ships it to everyone. A million strangers all using the same thing. A forward deployed engineer is almost the opposite. They move into one company and build whatever it takes to make AI work within that company. That's integration, fixing the data, custom things that only that company needs. Not one product for many people, but many things for just one company. Now, if that still sounds like some small niche thing, Look at what just happened. A few weeks ago, OpenAI spent $4 billion to spin up an entirely new company whose only product are these engineers. Not a new model, not a new app, but the engineers themselves. And their very first move was buying a startup outright just to get 150 of them on day zero. That's what $4 billion does. Now you know that when the biggest company in AI puts that kind of money behind one type of engineer, that's about as clear a signal as you will get about who is valuable right now. That's what the job is. But the real question still remains. What's the why? Why this engineer? Why this one job out of all of the other jobs that are in the market? And why is it that AI can't seem to touch it? Now, it's almost tempting to say that AI just can't do the messy human side of the job. But I wouldn't count on that. AI keeps surprising us at doing things that we swore that it could never do. The real reason is in fact even better. It starts off with actually a very tragic disaster. In 1986, the space shuttle Challenger broke apart a minute after launch, and 7 people died. The cause wasn't the engines or the computers, all of that worked perfectly. It was a single rubber ring worth a few dollars that got too cold and cracked. Billions of dollars worth of a rocket gone because of its weakest part. And economists looked at that and saw something true about almost all real work. Most of what we build isn't one big task. It's a chain of small ones all leaning onto each other. And every one of them has to make sense because the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Now, every other piece can be perfect, but if you get that one weak piece wrong, the whole thing just falls apart. They named a concept after this little ring called the O-ring problem. Now think about an AI project because it's exactly one of these chains. There's the model, the data, the company's ancient systems, the office politics, and someone having to own them. AI just made one of those links, the model, incredible. But the chain is still only as strong as its weakest link. So the project stopped failing there, but started failing somewhere else, at the messy data, and the people who didn't trust it, and the fact that no one was in charge. That's your 95%. Every one of those failures is an O-ring problem. Once AI handles all of the easy parts, the only thing that still matters is the part that it cannot do, the weak link, the one piece that the whole thing hangs on. And the person who can walk into that mess and make it work, they are suddenly worth a fortune. That person is the forward deployed engineer. Now, here's why that matters to you. The problem was never about one job. The forward deployed engineer, or the FDE, is just the clearest, best paid version of a simple rule. In the age of AI, the valuable person is the one who can do the hard part. The part that AI simply cannot do. Not the easy part that it just took over. So the real question isn't how to land that exact job, it's how to make yourself that person. The one who can do the hard part, wherever you already are. And the worst way to start is by chasing the title. Let me tell you exactly why. Now the obvious takeaway here is, great, I'll go become an FDE. Which is honestly bad advice. For the same reason that becoming a prompt engineer was bad advice 2 years ago. Chase a title because it's hot this year and you're always one trend away from being obsolete. Forward deployed engineer is just this year's name for the person who can do the part that AI can't. In a few years, it might be called something different, but it'll still be the same skill underneath. And that's the thing that you actually want. So don't aim at the title, aim at what the title means. The handful of skills that make you that person. Now there are 4 about being an FDE that really count, and only one is writing code. First, real technical depth. You have to be able to build. That is not a simple thing. Second, the ability to work with actual people and messy, half-broken systems. Third, judgment, for when the instructions are wrong and the data is a mess, which it almost always is. And fourth, earning the trust of people who aren't engineers and don't think like you do. Now, none of that is easy. It takes years. A lot of it is uncomfortable, and a good chunk isn't the part of engineering that you fell in love with. But that's somehow the point. Easy work is the first thing that AI is going to automate. You just watched it happen to writing code. The hard work is what's still remaining, and it's hard to learn and even harder to copy, which is exactly what makes it your moat. The harder it is, the fewer people can actually take it away from you. You don't even need OpenAI or Palantir or a $4 billion company to start, because this isn't a job. It's a way of working. Own the outcome, not just your little part of it. Get as close as you can to whoever uses what you build. Be the one who makes it work in the real world, not just the one who wrote the code. You can start that right now in the job you already are. If you are in India, this is for you, because India isn't being removed from the story. It's almost being divided. The same companies that just laid off all those people explained their plan in their own words. They are moving from coding to consulting, which is just a corporate way of saying, stop being the part AI can copy. Become the part that it can't. That's the shift. The engineers who land on the right side of that divide are the ones who heard it early and started moving. Which brings me back to that developer from the start. The good one, who did everything right and still couldn't get hired. Here's what I would tell them. You are not unlucky. You didn't do anything wrong. You followed the instructions that were given to you. The only thing was that the instructions changed right in the middle. And that's all it really is. But you still get to decide one thing starting today. Not which job you apply for next month, but which kind of engineer that you will become. The one whose work gets taken over by AI, or the one who can do the part that AI cannot. The market doesn't get to make that call, and neither do the layoffs or OpenAI's $4 billion company. That call is just yours, and it always was.